Hey everyone, and welcome back. Get ready, because today we're diving deep into the world of crypto. And with the US elections just weeks away, things are getting, well, pretty interesting to say the least. We're talking potential SEC shakeups, whispers of a new global reserve currency. Oh, and we'll even touch on how India is revolutionizing digital payments with crypto. Intrigued? I hope so.
It's a fascinating time to be following this space, that's for sure. The intersection of finance, technology, and geopolitics, it's all colliding and creating these truly compelling developments.
Exactly. And to guide us through all this craziness, we're turning to a recent episode of, you guessed it, Crypto Sensei. They always do such a great job of breaking down complex topics.
They do, and this one's no exception. But, well, it's worth noting that Crypto Sensei does have pretty strong opinions sometimes. So, as always, we'll be sure to add some context and, consider different perspectives as we go through their insights.
Sounds good. All right, let's jump right in. First up, does the outcome of the U.S. election even matter for the future of crypto? I mean, does it really?
That's a good question. A lot of people are asking that very question. Regulation, it's a major factor in the crypto world, and, different administrations can have pretty drastically different approaches.
True. And Crypto Sensei, they definitely think it matters. They brought up Chris Larson, co-founder of Ripple, donating $10 million in XRP to support Kamala Harris's campaign back in the day. And while that move apparently sparked some serious backlash from pro-Trump crypto enthusiasts, so it seems like, I don't know, maybe crypto is already becoming a political issue.
Interesting. It is interesting to see how the crypto community is, well, engaging with the political landscape these days. But to answer your question, both Democrats and Republicans have shown interest in crypto, that's true. But their approaches have definitely differed. Republicans, I'd say historically, they've been more vocal in their support for less regulation, while Democrats have tended to focus more on consumer protection, preventing illicit activities and all that.
Yeah, and Crypto Sensei pointed to some recent congressional hearings, the ones that really highlight those differing viewpoints. I mean, we've seen some bipartisan support for some crypto-related bills, like the one that just passed the House, but it's still kind of unclear what the future regulatory landscape will look like.
Yeah, it's tough to say. It's likely going to depend on a complex interplay of political and economic factors, really, regardless of who wins.
Right. Crypto Sensei actually played this clip from an interview with Brad Garlinghouse. He's Ripple's CEO, in case you didn't know. Anyway, he expressed hope for a more constructive engagement with the crypto industry, no matter who's in charge.
Yeah.
He seemed to want clearer regulations, which I know a lot of people in the industry have been asking for.
Yeah, that lack of regulatory clarity in the U.S. has been a major sticking point for a while. A lot of people are arguing that it's hindering innovation and kind of pushing these companies to operate in more crypto-friendly jurisdictions.
Okay, get ready for this one. Crypto Sensei had some very, very strong opinions about Gary Gensler. He's the SEC chair right now. They called his time at the SEC a reign of terror. A bit traumatic, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it is true that Gensler has taken a more, I guess you could say, assertive approach to regulating cryptocurrencies than his predecessors. And, well, that's led to some pretty high-profile legal battles, like the ongoing case against Ripple, of course.
And Crypto Sensei even speculated that Gensler's time at the SEC, it might be coming to an end soon, no matter who wins. They even mentioned that the SEC missed a deadline to appeal the ruling in the Ripple case. I mean, that could have huge implications for that whole legal battle, right?
It could, for sure. A change in leadership at the SEC, yeah, it could definitely signal a shift in how they approach regulations. But, well, it's important to remember that the SEC's primary mandate, it's to protect investors and ensure, fair markets. The challenge is finding that balance between fostering innovation and, at the same time, mitigating all those risks that come with new technologies, like cryptocurrencies, of course.
Okay, so buckle up. Things are about to get wild. Crypto Sensei claimed that there's this potential new global reserve currency in the works. And get this, they say it's been in place for over a decade. They highlighted the BRICS nations, specifically Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and their efforts to, create an alternative financial system, one that challenges the US dollar.
Well, the concept of a reserve currency, it's pretty fundamental to the global financial system. It's the currency that's most widely held by central banks. And of course, it's used for international transactions. The US dollar has held this position for decades, but yeah, its dominance is being questioned, especially by countries that want to reduce their reliance on the US.
And according to Crypto Sensei, there are three main contenders for this new reserve currency. A brand new digital currency created specifically for that purpose, a basket of existing BRICS currencies, Or, get this, an existing digital asset like, wait for it, XRP.
The idea of an existing digital asset like XRP actually becoming a core part of a new global reserve currency, I mean, that's a bold idea.
It's definitely bold. XRP has, shown it has potential for fast and efficient cross-border payments, but there are also, well, some major geopolitical and economic hurdles to overcome before that could ever become reality. And, well, Crypto Sensei was adamant that XRP is being seriously considered. They even referenced documents from this Moscow conference on payment digitization that included, like, diagrams of XRP's payment mechanisms.
Right, but it's important to remember that, well, correlation doesn't equal causation. Just because XRP is included in discussions and theoretical models doesn't automatically mean it's the front runner. The complexities of international finance and the competing interests of all these different nations, well, it makes predicting these outcomes incredibly difficult.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about some real-world applications of crypto. Crypto Sensei highlighted a really cool example, Ripple's partnership with XOP in India. They're revolutionizing digital payments over there, making it accessible even to people who don't have smartphones or even internet connections. Can you imagine that?
That's amazing. It really shows how blockchain technology can, like, bridge the gap in financial inclusion, reaching those populations that have been traditionally excluded from these traditional financial systems.
It's amazing. And it's not just happening in India either. Crypto Sensei also mentioned that the World Bank Group is, get this, they're exploring the use of XRP and XLM, for cross-border settlements and for central bank digital currency initiatives. Pretty impressive, right?
It is. It is. The fact that these established institutions like the World Bank are actively, researching and piloting these technologies, well, it's a strong indicator of their potential, their potential to transform the global financial system as we know it.
It's mind-blowing, really, to think about how all these pieces fit together. We've got potential political shakeups, talk of a new world order. We even have these amazing stories of crypto changing lives in, like, India. It's a lot to take in, for sure. So where do you, the listener, even begin to make sense of it all?
It's true. This deep dive has unearthed some pretty complex and interconnected concepts. So let's try to, break down what's most important for you to understand.
Crypto Sensei seemed pretty convinced, like really convinced, that a new global reserve currency is a real threat to the US dollar. They even claim that a system has been in place for over a decade. And they even went so far as to suggest that XRP could be, like, at the center of it all. They even referenced documents from a Moscow conference, I think it was, with diagrams of XRP's payment systems. So are they onto something? Or is this just hype?
It's definitely thought-provoking, I'll give them that. But it's important to remember that a reserve currency, it's not just about, like, economic power, it's also about trust and that whole intricate web of global relationships. And while it's true that some countries are, exploring alternatives to the US dollar, I think it's a bit early to say that a new system is already, like, up and running smoothly in the background.
So you're saying we should take Crypto Sensei's claims with a grain of salt?
Exactly. I mean, their insights are valuable, don't get me wrong, but it's important to look at things from multiple angles. And when it comes to XRP specifically, well, while it's proven it can handle these fast cross-border payments, assuming that it's the automatic frontrunner for a new global reserve currency, well, I think that's a big leap. There are a lot of other digital assets out there. And even the possibility of a completely new currency being created. I mean, anything could happen.
It sounds like this whole new world order thing, it's still very much up in the air.
Absolutely. We're dealing with a lot of, like, possibilities, but no certainties, really. And that's why it's so important for you, the listener, to stay informed, Critically evaluate the information you're coming across and, well, not get swept up by any single viewpoint, no matter how compelling it might seem.
It's almost like we need a Crypto Sensei decoder ring to figure out what's real and what's, like, total hype.
Maybe not a decoder ring, but I think a healthy dose of skepticism and, well, critical thinking, those are definitely your most valuable tools when you're navigating this space.
Well said. So where can our listeners go to stay ahead of the curve, make sense of all this? Any recommendations for, like, reliable information and analysis?
That's a crucial question. I mean, in today's world, this world of information overload, it's more important than ever to be a discerning consumer, of information. That you got to look for reputable sources that are known for their accuracy and their objectivity, and be wary, really wary of anything that sounds too good to be true, because hype and sensationalism, they often cloud the real picture.
So how can our listeners tell if a source is, like, actually reputable?
Well, there are a few things to look for. First, check the source's track record. I mean, have they been accurate in the past? Do they have a history of fact-checking and correcting errors? Second, look for balanced reporting. Does the source present different perspectives, or do they only present one side of the story? And third, consider the source's funding. I mean, who's paying for the information to be produced? Could there be any, like, financial incentives or biases that are, influencing the reporting?
That's really helpful advice. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement, especially with a topic like crypto. It's so dynamic, things are changing so fast. But it sounds like taking a step back and, like, really critically evaluating your sources is super important.
Absolutely. It's about developing I'd say a healthy sense of skepticism, without becoming cynical. I mean, the world of crypto, it's full of both incredible potential and potential pitfalls. Being able to discern between the two, well, that's key to making informed decisions.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today, elections, regulations, we even talked about a potential new world order, and of course those incredible real-world examples of crypto in action, like that work Ripple's doing in India. But with all this information swirling around, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive? What's, like, the most important message you want them to remember?
The key takeaway is this. We're living through a period of, I'd say, profound technological and financial transformation. The world's changing fast. And the decisions being made today by governments, institutions, and individuals, they will shape the future in profound ways. And while that future, it will impact your life.
That's a powerful thought. It makes this whole conversation feel a lot more, I don't know, personal and relevant, I guess. It's not just about, like, abstract concepts or far-off possibilities. It's about how these changes will impact our lives in, like, intangible ways.
Precisely. And that's why it's so important for each of you to stay informed, engage in these conversations, and think critically about the information you're encountering.
It's both exciting and a little, I don't know, daunting, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the cusp of a new era, and we all have a role to play in shaping what that era will look like.
Absolutely. But just like any great challenge, I think it's also a time of immense, immense opportunity. An opportunity for each of you to learn, to adapt, and to contribute to building a future that reflects your values and aspirations.
And that brings us back to, like, the heart of the deep dive,
Right?
Helping you navigate these complex issues, giving you the tools to think critically, and ultimately, empowering you to become more informed and engaged in shaping the world around you.
Exactly. It's about giving you the knowledge and the perspectives you need to make sense of this rapidly evolving landscape and to participate in the conversations that are shaping the future.
Crypto Sensei definitely sparked some important questions. And, well, they got us thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed, it's important to remember that, their perspective is just one piece of the puzzle.
And that's why we encourage you, the listener, to continue exploring, to seek out diverse viewpoints, and to engage in thoughtful discussions with others. I mean, the more we learn and share with each other, the better equipped we'll be to navigate the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
So as we wrap up part 2 of this deep dive, let's shift our focus to some more practical considerations. I mean, we talked about the potential for a new world order, the regulatory landscape. We even touched on the philosophical implications of a decentralized financial system. But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment and talk about what this all means for you, the individual. How could these technological and financial shifts impact your everyday life?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think deserves more attention than it often receives. I mean, we tend to get caught up in the macro level implications of crypto, the potential for disruption, the rise of new powers, the challenges to existing systems. But it's equally important to consider the micro level impacts, I think, how these technologies could empower individuals, create new opportunities, and even change the way we interact with each other on a daily basis.
And Crypto Sensei actually touched on some of these potential impacts, especially in their discussion of the XOP partnership in India. They painted this picture of a world where people can send money to loved ones instantly, securely, even if they don't have a bank account or even internet access.
It's a powerful example of how blockchain technology can leapfrog existing limitations and provide financial access to those who have been, traditionally excluded from these traditional financial systems. And it's not just about remittances either. Think about the potential for microlending, where people can access small loans directly from each other, without going through those traditional banks,
Hmm.
or crowdfunding, where individuals can pool their resources to support projects they believe in. Blockchain technology could even lead to the creation of new forms of digital identity that could empower individuals in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
It's almost like we're on the verge of this whole new era of economic empowerment, where individuals, they have more control over their own financial destinies.
Exactly. And that's why it's so crucial for us to stay informed, ask those critical questions, and engage in these conversations. The future of finance, it's being written right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Well said. And as we move into part 3 of our deep dive, we'll continue exploring these themes of individual empowerment and how you can navigate this evolving landscape to create a more secure and prosperous future for yourself and your loved ones. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, for part 3. Man, my head is spinning after all that talk about a new world order and the potential for individual empowerment through blockchain and all that. It's a lot to process, right?
It really is. We've covered so much ground, starting with the potential impact of these U.S. elections on crypto regulation and moving on to the rise of new global powers. We even touched on the potential shift away from the U.S. dollar, as the world's reserve currency.
Yeah.
And then there's those real world applications of blockchain tech that are, already making a difference, like that Ripple project in India. Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible to think about how all those seemingly separate threads are they're weaving together to create this whole new landscape of finance, technology. I mean, even global power dynamics. Feels like we're standing at the edge of this new frontier, full of promise, but also a lot of unknowns.
Great analogy. And like any explorer heading into uncharted territory, it's so important to be prepared, to have the right tools, the right knowledge to navigate whatever challenges and opportunities pop up along the way.
And that's where we come in, right? The deep dive. It's all about arming you, the listener, with the information and insights you need to, to really understand this complex world and to make informed decisions about your own financial future.
Exactly. We want to empower you, to help you become an active participant in all of this, not just a passive observer.
Now, in the last part, we talked about how blockchain tech has this real potential to empower individuals, especially people who have been, excluded from traditional financial systems. Remember that Ripple partnership with XOP in India. They're building this payment system that even works without internet access.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It shows how technology can really level the playing field and create opportunities for everyone, no matter their background or where they live.
And that's just one example. I mean, there are so many projects and initiatives, all over the world that are using blockchain tech to address things like poverty, inequality, even lack of access to, essential services. We're seeing this emergence of new financial tools and models that could revolutionize the way we save, invest, transact, everything.
It's exciting, thinking about the potential for good that blockchain offers. But if I'm being honest, I'm a little nervous too. We've talked about the potential for a shift in global power and the challenges to the dollar's dominance and all the uncertainty surrounding crypto regulation. It feels like there's so much at stake.
Yeah.
And I don't know, part of me's not sure if I'm ready for such a huge change.
I get it. Change can be, well, a bit unsettling, especially when it's happening so fast and on such a large scale.
But I think it's important to remember that, change is going to happen, whether we like it or not. I mean, the world is constantly evolving. The financial system's no different. The question is not if it'll change, but how we shape that change and what kind of future we build.
That's a good point. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when these massive shifts are happening all around us, like we're powerless.
But you're right. We do have a choice. We can sit back and watch, or we can get involved, learn, and help create a future that's aligned with what we believe in.
Right. And that's where knowledge really becomes power. The more we understand about these forces that are shaping the world, the better equipped we'll be to, navigate the challenges and grab those opportunities that come up.
Okay, so let's get practical for a minute. What are some steps our listeners can take to stay ahead of the curve and prepare for this evolving financial landscape? What advice would you give to someone who's curious about getting involved in the crypto world but doesn't really know where to start?
Great question. Here's a few things I'd recommend. First, educate yourself. I mean, there are tons of resources out there, online, in books. You can learn about blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, the whole ecosystem. It's all out there. Second, find trustworthy sources of information. Like we discussed, you've got to be careful about where you get your information from. Look for sources that are known for being accurate, objective, presenting, all sides of the story. Third, join the conversation. Talk to other people who are interested in crypto. Join, online forums, go to meetups. There's so many ways to connect. And fourth, start small. You don't have to, invest a ton of money or dive into those complicated trading strategies right away. Just experiment with a small amounts of crypto.
Yeah.
Dip your toes in. And as you learn more, as you become more confident, you can get more involved.
That's great advice. Approach this world with curiosity, but also with a bit of caution, and be willing to learn, to keep learning. And remember, this is a journey. It's not, you don't just arrive.
Exactly. The crypto world, it's always changing. There's always something new to learn. So stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop learning.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive. It's been a wild ride. We started by exploring the potential impact of the U.S. elections on crypto regulation. We talked about the rise of new global players and that possible shift away from the U.S. dollar as the world's go-to currency. And we dug into those real-world applications of blockchain technology that are already making a real difference in people's lives. And of course, we couldn't ignore those big philosophical questions about what a decentralized financial system could mean for all of us.
And we've emphasized how important it is to stay informed, to be critical of the information we come across, and to really engage in these important conversations about the future of finance and technology.
It's been quite a journey, and I really hope our listeners have found it valuable, informative, and maybe even got them thinking about things in a new way.
We hope so too. And a huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and stay engaged. The future of finance, it's being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play.
So until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered.